everyone, good evening and welcome to Conversations with Teeners. And Conversations with Teeners in association with freebirds.co. We try and bring you some amazing human beings of this earth. I always love saying this, amazing human beings, because they have gone to the ends of the earth, they have gone around the world, they've chronicled stories for themselves. And I have one such wonderful storyteller here with us today. And he is Shouquot Hussain. Welcome, 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 Shouquot, to my show, Conversations with Teeners.
Thank you for having me here today. You're most welcome. I'm so delighted to be able to make it here and be with you on the show. Thank you so much.
Shouquot, it's been years since I've been talking to you. I think we met, we were working together in one office, if you remember. And
Yes, of course.
we had such fun, that was a lot of fun. We just didn't do any work at all. We just talked and we just talked and we talked and we didn't do any work. I
Oh,
think,
yes, and we are still doing that. Yes, absolutely. That's who we are.
That's who we are. We just love doing that. We just talked and talked till we just, we had a great time, in fact.
Absolutely.
Shouquot, as far as I know, you grew up in Guwahati. Let's start from where you started. Let's start from Guwahati and let us start with where you studied and what you did and all those things. That would be very interesting because this is your show. This is the Shouquot Hussain show, and we'd like to know more and more about Shouquot.
Okay, so I studied initially in Don Bosco High School in Guwahati, and then somewhere around class 8, I got a Government of India Merit Scholarship to, these are given to students, of around 10 students in India, and they are distributed to the major public schools in India. So I was allotted St. Paul's School, Darjeeling. So from year 8, class 8 to class 12, I was there, did that, came back, joined Cotton College. So, and that was a fabulous time, of course, and took English honors. And being English honors, I was among the very few males in my class, surrounded by beautiful females all around. So that was great. Again, we did that, completed there, then went to Delhi for mass comm, came back, did a master's in English literature in Guwahati University again. Yes, that was the career. That was the academic graph. Then we decided, okay, what do I want to do? In fact, I decided long back that I want to be a teacher. Fine. That everyone around me, including, of course, family, friends, uncles and aunties and well-wishers, are you crazy? Have you gone mad? Of all the careers on earth, you want to be a master? I said, okay, yeah, I want to be a teacher. But okay, do something a little higher up. Become a professor. Go teach in the universities and colleges. No, I want to catch minds when they're still being fermented. They're still not cast in stone, still taking shape. That's the age I want to catch them at, and that's so interesting. So I want to be a school teacher. Okay. So I decided, so that's what I did here, and that's how it all started.
Okay, so you were working in a school before. I didn't know this. Which school were you working in?
I started in a very small school in Guwahati because I just wanted to first see if I may decide that this is what I want to do. But you only realize when you actually go down to doing it, whether you are made for it or not, or whether it agrees with you, whether you find the joy and the fire in your belly stays ignited or not. So I joined a small school in Guwahati called Modern English School. That was way back in 96, 97. Yes.
Okay. And then you went off. You were in other schools or in colleges as well. Please tell us more
Yes.
about that.
Okay, so I joined a small school in Guwahati, then joined another school in Guwahati called Miles Bronson Residential School. Those experiences, then I went to DPS Dig Boy, did a stint of 2 years there. And from there, that is when things changed a little. I was very curious about the international curricula that was entering India at that time. And one of the most popular international curriculum was the International Baccalaureate, IB. They have around 150 schools, and the curriculum runs around 150 schools. So it's a wide network. And the pedagogy is very, 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 very unique and very experiential. So I applied for that, and there's a school in Delhi, Gurgaon, Pathways World School. So I applied, interviewed, got in there to teach English, literature. That's what I love anyway. I love books. So you can make your passion your profession, nothing like it. So I went and joined, and that's how the choreograph started. I was there. We worked there. I worked there for 4.5 years, Pathways World School, and then from there went to Bangalore, another Ivy school, International Baccalaureate school. Worked in Bangalore for 4 years. Then, uh, and in that school in Bangalore, I went as the vice principal, and then joined another international Ivy school, international school in Pune, where I went as the principal and worked there for 3 years, and then Wanderlust beckoned. Started thinking, I've spent more than a decade teaching or administering in schools in India. It's been great, but still limited. Let me explore the horizons and try different cultures, different people, imbibe more experiences in the same number of years. Okay, so then started looking at schools all across. And then usually what happens is in January in London, there is a job fair for international teachers. So went, participated there, applied, participated, set up a few interviews, uh, 4 offers finally, and then we picked up we decided together, my wife and I, she is also a teacher in the same schools that we were, that we want to explore Africa. It's something quaint, exotic, a throwback to simpler times, and always been excited, fascinated by it. And this is a great school, Aga Khan Academy in Mombasa. So joined there 2013, that's where we went. Vice principal of the diploma program, teaching English and theory of knowledge, which is like the beginnings of philosophy and all of that. So there for 7 years, we were there for 7 years. Now, just this year, we shifted. Now we said there's something called a 7-year itch, right? So it started itching us anyways, and Wanderlust because basically I am a wanderer at heart, and I want to explore more and travel light without baggage. So decided, okay, let's move on. So then the school in the international school in Indonesia, Jakarta came up, liked what we saw, and decided, okay, that's the place to be. So now I'm working in Jakarta, Indonesia.
Wow.
Yes, that's where
So,
I am.
this stay in Africa, what was it like? I mean, I've seen a lot of your pictures, and what I liked about what I liked about these pictures is that you have a kind of you have a charm around these people. You kind of have worked your charm around these people, and what you had written in your profile is that you are very happy when they kind of express themselves. They go out into the world and they can speak their own minds, and this is what you love about young people, and this is what I like about you, that you have allowed them their own space with your teaching. You have not kind of rigorously put them into a kind of compartment, but you have let them go free. How is that? I mean, how does Prince, because I will tell you why I feel that you are such a free bird. You are such a a kind of a bird which loves to fly, because here in Guwahati, whenever I used to see you, that was before you went around the world to different places. I used to see you carrying a book, and you used to be in your own world. You used to be either singing or talking to yourself, and you used to walk through the road, and there was this kind of this gay abandon. Is that the right word? I think those are the right words for you. You were just lost in your own world, lost in those things, and then that's, I think, this has a connection to how you are teaching your children. Your children have, and the children who surround you, I have noticed that all those children in Africa where you had gone to teach, where they were standing with you in that picture, they all had that feeling, that awe, feeling of being mesmerized by your aura. And how do you do this? This is amazing. I want to listen to you about this.
Okay, there's no aura. It's very simple. If you don't build relationships, nothing else works. If you don't like the teacher, no matter what he or she is teaching you, you will switch off. You will not receive openly, and that becomes the biggest wall and biggest barrier. So, and anyway, I love building relationship with these kids. And life is all about choices. You give them choice, they give you what you want. And each of them have their own minds. Idea is to treat each other with respect. Now, if I had come down condescending or patronizing, I'm your teacher, you're my student, I know more, you know less, you are here to take what I give, so listen, take, then that would have been a one-way street, and they would have probably taken, but that's all there was. There would have been to it, but this is much more, because I enjoy what they bring to the table. Like, for example, now I deliberately make it a point when I'm teaching youngsters these days, what's their language, how do they converse, and what's the pop culture they are into, who do they like, Marvel movies, okay, Beyonce, okay, rap, okay. I have to be able to identify, and I also introduce them in turn to things more deeper and things I value. So because I have taken theirs, they are now willing to receive mine. So that works in the classroom as well. So that's the way it is. I'm so always so excited to see children, new minds, new thoughts, and not to curb them at all. Let their thinking grow, and I help them in any which way I can, and I also argue with them. And the first thing I always tell them in the first class when I meet a new student or a new batch is that feel free to disagree with me at any point of time, as long as you do it respectfully. Me with or anyone in the classroom, absolutely wonderful. If you're not going to question me, I'm not going to enjoy myself. So that's opening stuff, and that's how things go. And it's been a magical experience. Africa has been a magical experience. Yes.
Lovely. I think, Shouquot, when you talk about, giving this freedom to children and freedom to your students, here I have noticed in India, and especially in Ahom, in our Guwahati city, I've seen many of the teachers who are, they have a kind of a condescending feeling. I'm saying this out of experience, and then they tell their students that, okay, you're going to have your exams and it's going to be of 20 marks, as if they're going to make them fail or something like that. I mean, what difference do you find in teachers here and while you were teaching there? Because what you had said is a very open-ended kind of a teaching you have, but here it's more like saying that if you don't comply to what I say, if you dare to argue with me, I'm going to get back and give you 0 out of 20 or something like that. So I mean, how correct is that? I don't think that's correct, right?
Yeah. Compliance at the cost of creativity? No. So what we do is co-construct everything together with the students. They are partners. They then take, if they start owning something, the curriculum, and how we are going to conduct the assessment. Okay, let's create it together. And everything is laid down to them beforehand, and they choose, and we co-construct, and we go at it together. Then what happens? They take more responsibility for their own learning. When they take more responsibility, they own it more, and they are more invested. When they are more invested, it's easier, so much easier to reach them, to teach them, to mentor them, and to get them to listen to you. That is the key. I mean, otherwise they will comply, because otherwise there are rules, they will be penalized. It's the fear of the stick that will make them do things, but that will last only as long as you don't turn your back. But if we go at it this way, even when I'm not in the classroom, they're not going to be any different. So that works. And yes, in India, initially in the national curricula that we were doing, and I went through myself, and you would have gone through, things were more restrictive. Things were less experimental. Um, it wasn't much of a growth mindset scenario then, but we're talking about earlier days. Now I think in India also a lot of things have changed, especially in a lot of curricula, and progress has come in. There is more multiple intelligences being paid attention to. Different kinds of teaching methodologies are being used. It's more inclusive in a way, but yes, there is some distance to go for all of us everywhere.
So what do you think? Do you think that whatever is being taught and however it is being taught in India needs to be changed? Because I have noticed that the students are always in fear of their teachers. They say that, oh, if I don't do this, then my teacher is going to reprimand me or they're going to scold me. I think isn't it time that the teachers started getting more proactive with the students? And see, I teach in a college, and my students are more like children for me, my own children. And then they behave in that same manner because they think that I'm their mother or a mother figure. So they call me up and they say, "Ma'am, we have this problem. Ma'am, I'm depressed. Ma'am, I have a boyfriend issue. Ma'am, I have the," so all these kind of things happen. But then when I ask my son whether do you have the same sort of relationship with your teacher, then he is apprehensive about telling me. He said, "No, I don't think I need to discuss about this with you." So I seriously think that we need to, kind of change this whole concept of being condescending. And I really like your thought process where you say that you give a free will to your students.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head that way because, see, unless, okay, teachers need to be braver. Anyone who is being condescending, anyone who is being authoritarian is finally doing it to take a shortcut. Fear is the easiest way out. You do it, otherwise you're in trouble. So to escape trouble, your students do it, and you don't have to go any further than that. You get them to comply. But that's a shortcut that doesn't work because you don't really get your student to be with you, is with you out of fear. It's like, I don't know, fearing God, I don't understand. Loving God, I understand. Yeah, similarly, um, the extension of the same analogy. I mean, what is there to fear? Why should anyone be authoritarian? I mean, you're there to give, exchange. So students give get that freedom. They are more themselves. Like you said, if they are more themselves, they open up to you. Like they'll discuss their boyfriend or girlfriend issues. They will discuss mental health issues, which they wouldn't open up unless they trust you. Trust is
Yes.
a key element, and that trust comes from their realizing and knowing that you mean well and you respect them as well as individuals, and you will keep their confidence. So it's relationship building, and that has to happen for anything real to grow. And yes, things need to change. And things need to change not just in India, in the whole world, because there are two kinds of people. It's not just different kind of curricula. One kind would give you the sermon from the mount. I give and you take, and that invisible wall will always be there. The other kind would embrace, let's go at it together, will expose, will not be scared to expose their vulnerabilities to their students, so that student can also in turn be comfortable revealing their vulnerabilities to the teacher. Or you are human, so I can also be human in the classroom. So that one needs to be, that courage needs to be there, that moral courage needs to be there in the teacher to be able to risk that. Once that happens, things go smoother. All over the world, examination. One examination at the end of 12 years to test you in those 3 hours, all that you have learned. It's such a touch and go thing. And it tests you only in one or two ways. Yeah, learning styles.
Yeah.
Someone is a kinesthetic learner, someone is a visual learner, someone is an auditory learner. All these aspects are not tested. So it's not really fair. So there's so many ways to go about it. So a lot of things need to change, and in some places, in some aspects, they are changing at some levels. But long distance, long way to go.
When we talk about teachers and they have a problem with students and there's aggression and all these things that we talk about, I think at the end of the day I don't blame the teachers as well, because they might be having their problems at home. When they are sitting in front of, like, now right now we're talking about virtual classes, but when they are physically sitting in front of 52 students or 50 students, she might not be able to cope with those 50 students. Maybe she's not trained. Maybe she had a problem back home. Maybe I'm talking in she because I know most of the teachers that I know are female, so it's coming as she. So maybe they had a problem. Maybe back home they had a fight with the spouse or something like that. So that aggression. Recently, I was in a webinar with some professors from SFS College Alo. This is in Arunachal Pradesh. So there. I was telling the teachers that when I tell you that you have to behave in a certain way with the students, at the same time I would also like to tell you that it is important for the student to understand that maybe my teacher had a problem. Now, who's going to tell them that? This we have to, as parents, we have to tell our our children, see, you have to respect your teachers. One reason why, because they are your gurus, they are your teachers. Next, if she has a problem, you have to understand that maybe she had a problem back home. So you just don't become judgmental. That's what I tell my son, at least, you know. So I don't know what you say about this. What do you say? I mean, do you think teachers have their own problems when they are
Of
behaving?
course,
They carry
the,
that burden from home to class, you know. Sometimes they do that.
yes, baggage. We all carry baggage, and the older we get, the more baggage we have psychologically. And but the key is that for any human being to understand that each of us, the rest of us, are also human, and to err is human, to falter is human, to be tired is human. Okay, to be overwhelmed is human. It goes circular, it goes both ways. And students, and if the teacher understands that about students, and students will be far more understanding about the teacher about that as well. And so that's where it all boils down to, basically. That I have a today I had a bad day, like you said. Today I had a bad day, bad experience. I'm so much on my mind. I'm not feeling too well, or so I'm irritable, and I'm not in the best frame of mind. But whatever that be, I think being honest about that, to the extent possible, with your students when you come in, would make them empathize with your situation so much more, and then they will behave and give you the space accordingly. You give space, you get space. And that's it's all communication. Communication is a big thing. Sometimes we feel too hesitant to again to expose our vulnerabilities, to be ourselves totally. They are young kids. Why should I let them know that I also am inadequate in some ways, or I am also suffering, or I have issues? That may be no, that shouldn't be the case. You be yourself. That helps the cause, I think, bridge the gap. Yes, of course, teachers also have problems, and it's a two-way street. Teachers need to understand, students need to understand, and that understanding becomes better and more. The bridge is easily navigated if that space, first of all, is given by the teacher for that kind of a relationship to grow.
Wonderful. I hope all children are listening to this, and then they will also understand that when their teacher has a problem, it is best to empathize, to understand, and communicate, and maybe go up and ask her or him that, do you have a problem? Do you want to talk to me? It's okay to do that, I think, and a
Absolutely.
teacher will never feel bad if a student comes up to her or him and says that, do you think you need to talk to me? Are you feeling okay? Do you want, maybe
Yeah,
something like that? A nice
yeah, that's a
gesture.
perfect. That's a perfect thing to say, because then the teacher will always feel valued and good within. That the student also cares about me and is asking how I am. Whether I reveal everything or some bit or whatever I do, that is different. But at least I feel good that the student is asking me. Yeah, of course. That works.
Yes, yes, yes. So in Jakarta, where you're going, you'll be going. I mean, you're already teaching there. Well, you are
Yes.
teaching English there as well, right?
I am teaching English language and literature. I am teaching a subject in the diploma, IB diploma program. It's called Theory of Knowledge, which is the beginnings of philosophy. We question everything. So that's a subject there. And I'm also teaching film studies. They have a subject called film
Wow,
studies in class 11 and 12. Yes. So I'm teaching these three.
wow. And how is the feeling? I mean, coming all the way from Africa to Indonesia, what is the difference you find in teaching in these two different countries?
People are the same wherever you go, especially young minds. They are inquirers, they are thinkers, they are vulnerable, they are excited, they come with a lot of teenage angst which you need to navigate with them. It's no more things change, more they remain the same. So it's different in that sense. Okay, the ethnicity, the demography may be different. Okay, now
Okay.
in Africa, we had more East African children, Indian children, Pakistani children, Middle Eastern children, Russian children, and a few Americans and Britishers and Australians, of embassy people who were already working there. So that is a sprinkling of that. Now here in Indonesia, that demographic shifts to a lot of Indonesian children, Singaporean children, Thai children, Indian children. India's everywhere. A lot of Indian origin children, and then spattering of those Americans and Britishers and Australians and etc. That also are those expats who work there, their children come. So it's different, but not so different, because finally there's a lot of, it's a melting pot of cultures. Though it's in one place, it's quite a melting pot of culture, being an IB school.
Wow, wonderful. I wish you all the best. This is a new assignment for you, and I'm really excited about hearing more, seeing those pictures and seeing you interact with your students, writing back that, you are having a great time. This I really want to see. I want to see you writing more stories. Well, talking about your poetry, I know for certain that you're a wonderful poet, and I'd like to come to that. And I'd like you to recite a couple of your poems, so that our listeners are going to have some sort of fun with your. Maybe you're going to speak some serious poems as well. I don't know.
No, I will just recite an early one of mine.
Okay.
Because okay, before that, let me tell you, yes, and I'm very happy to be able to recite it in front of a fellow poet like you, and I appreciate your poetry also so very much.
Thank you.
And I will recite one, and this is dedicated to all the women in my life, because I owe them a lot. My mother, my sisters, friends, lovers, my wife. I mean, women are wonderful. They keep you grounded. So it's just in their honor. It's called, I don't remember every word verbatim, so I read out from my phone. It's called My Kind of Woman. So it goes like this. She is not a woman, she is the woman. And no, she is not my woman. She is her own woman. And that's why she's all the more woman. She is a modern woman, they say, the new woman. But labels fail her, as do men who bracket her. She is neither the leading woman nor the following woman. She is much more. She is the equal woman. She doesn't give a damn, and that makes her a callous woman. But once in a rare while, she gives her heart, and then she is woman, simply woman. She madly loves her man, she is human, but never belongs to him, and that makes her the woman. That's why she'll never be my woman, but she'll always be my kind of woman, the uncompromising woman, the all or nothing woman.
Ooh, this is so awesome. I could relate to each and every word that you were saying. That is so me. That is, it was as if you were writing. It was as if you're writing for
Yes,
me.
it's about you and women like you, definitely. Independent
This is
women who
so
value
beautiful.
themselves in their own
This
right.
is so beautiful. I am a thorough lover, and my hashtag is always lover by default. So it's always that. So, and somebody was asking me today, so what is your intention in life? How do you want to be remembered in life? How do you want to leave a legacy for life? And I said, I just want to be known as a lover. That's it. I just want to be known as a lover. And I want to leave that. That's my legacy. I don't know what else I'm going to create in the process, but then I just want to be known as a lover.
That is the best legacy we leave behind. We see what hate is doing in the world. We need love.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. And I always keep telling my young children that when I go for a motivational one of those sessions, and I tell them that buy a lot of love, because love is very rare, it is invaluable, and love cannot be found so easily. But hate is so easy, it is so cheap, you can find it everywhere. So just don't hate, just love as much as you can. So another poem, can we have another one of your poems? Are you going to?
Okay, I'll give you a short one.
Hey,
Just
great.
again. Okay, it's called Don't. Don't provide me painkillers before I am hurt. That'll simply make me go out of my way to hurt myself, because I'd hate to waste your medicines. Don't look for excuses to forgive me. That'll simply lead me to deeds more unforgivable, because then finding out how much you can take would become an obsession. Don't hold me responsible for making you happy. because then I will have to pay you a debt I don't owe you, that keeping you happy. Don't give me more than what I ask for. That will simply give you the right to take back as much. So tread on my soul if you must, but please, sparingly.
Wow. Wow. You know what? I was just thinking of asking you something else. Are you going to put up all these, or have you already come up with a book, a poetry book where, we get to see this and, kind of read your poems?
Yes, I'm finally doing it now. I'm finally doing it. I've got in touch with publishers and they've asked for the initial proof and sample poetry and they will publish. So in around, hopefully around 6 months time, I'll come up with my first book of poems. Yeah.
Lovely. And have you been writing anything that we can read? Have you got a book or something which a novel or some non-fiction, fiction, anything that you've written
I write
recently?
recently, I've written stuff for journals and magazines, educational stuff for the IB World. There's a magazine called the IB World for International Baccalaureate for international students. So I've written stuff there about pedagogy, about teaching being a kind of a journey that we do together and what makes it easy, what makes it hard, things like that. And on the other hand, I'm crazy about movies, so I've written some stuff about movies that have been published within and outside, uh, mostly observations, reviews, kind of things, and more poetry and on issues that matter to us and trouble us. Some are ageless issues, always there: sexism, racism. You know, those
Wow.
really get my goat, and I always keep raising my voice wherever, whichever
Can
platform I
can
find.
we get links to these stories? I mean, I would love to read them.
Oh,
Can you
absolutely,
can you can you please forward these links because it would be lovely to read your writings.
absolutely, we'll do that. We'll
Please
definitely
do.
do that.
Please
I will
do.
definitely do that.
So before we leave, I would like you, because see, you are a role model. You are a person who has influenced a lot of young people. Before you leave and before I say bye to you, I would like you to give a message to the young people. There are many young people watching you right now, and I'm sure they would love some sort of a message from you. That would be great.
Okay, I'll keep it very simple and probably very radical. This is not what teachers tell their students or not what parents want te- teachers to tell their students, but I say to all students, all young people all over, I say this: don't seek approval, seek life. We spend too much time seeking approval from everybody and anybody, and that really, really limits us. So we don't want to do that. I want you to go on your own journey. Decide for yourself. Take all the advice you need, but then the decision is finally yours. And remember that life is all about choices, and it's the choice is yours finally. Any road you take, obviously there's a road you have not taken. Those are choices you make whenever you reach a fork. Fine, but be brave enough to make those choices, even if they may be unpopular choices. It's not the popularity or the unpopularity that counts. It's what really clicks in your heart. This is the thing to do. Feel good about it, feel right about it, go ahead, be respected. So that's the message I say. Don't seek approval, seek life.
Wow. You have a message from Shehnaz Hussain. She says, fantastic poem. So
Please convey my thanks to her. Please convey my thanks to her. I'm
she's
so
watching you right now. You know,
okay.
so I just love reading your your profile here. You have written some beautiful things. In tangible terms, the greatest joy comes from enabling my students to secure admissions in the best universities across the universe: Oxford, Cambridge, Yale, Stanford, Columbia. So you have been helping your students, in fact, to get into these universities, right? If what you
Yes, in the Ivy schools that I have worked, I've been the diploma coordinator, which is a direct role which has to do with, besides the teaching that I do, I also coordinate the whole +2 program. It's called the Ivy
okay,
Diploma. And the next step is universities. So by the time they're in class enter class 12, they start the whole process. By the time they enter class 11, grade 11, they start the whole process of learning how to write a good personal statement, an application, respond to prompts, build a portfolio, apply to 10 of their top universities, to the Reach University, Dream University, to the Safe University, to the at par university, and populate their application with all the arsenal they have at their disposal, cultural, intellectual, educational, and their scores and everything, and how they present themselves, how they do interviews for these. And I guide them along with, we have someone called the university counselor, career guidance counselor. So it's the DP coordinator, the vice principal, and the university counselor who together take all the students through this process and get them to apply and get them ready for this process. And our success rate has been fantastic.
Seriously,
All
you're doing such amazing work. I really appreciate what you're doing, and this is, you must be having such an exciting life, right? This must
It is
be
very
so
exciting. Their successes reflect, I bask in reflected glory, and that's a pleasure when your students, and the best gift a student can give me is the day he or she stops needing me. Then I know that I've been successful. The day a student does not need the teacher is the day I know that, okay, I've done enough. Another thing is, I tell each of my students, this last year, there's a student who got into to Cambridge, and the thing I told her, and I tell this to every student who goes abroad and gets the best of education in the best of universities, please come back. Okay, give back to your community. Don't just be a brain drain person. And most of them do. So that's also another pleasure.
So we have a chance that that Shouquot Hussain is going to actually come back to Assam after he's done the world tour, because he says, give back to your community. I'm thinking, this is just a wild thought.
Yeah.
And he's going to come back, and that's his dream, to come back and give to his community. That is what I am thinking right now. I don't know what's his plan. So after all these years, maybe you're going to come back?
Definitely.
Yay,
Definitely.
great.
Home is home. Yes.
Yes, home's home, and we have I have the opportunity to then work with you, because I would love to work with a world-class personality like this, world-class personality who's taken all those bits and pieces of experience and all kinds of little stories from everywhere and put them together and comes back home packed in a bag, and we are there to unlock this bag of goodies, and we are going to get all those experiences.
Absolutely, and I'd love to work with someone like-minded like you with the same vision. Yes.
Lovely, lovely. I'm waiting for that day. And never mind, I might turn 100 also. You might turn 100 also on that day. But then we are waiting for that opportunity when we're going to be working together. It'll be so much exciting to be working with a person like you, with so much of vision and with so much of a dream in his head. So, Shouquot, it has been a pleasure talking to you. I'd like to thank you from the bottom of my heart for coming to my show, Conversations with Tina, because you have kind of enhanced the prestige of the show by coming and talking to us about such an important issue on education and on what you have been experiencing. It has been an absolute pleasure and a privilege.
And I would love to thank you so much for thinking me worthy of this meeting in your show, because I'm just a teacher. Yeah, I do what I can at the end of the day, and I want to see my students do well, and that you reached out and you wanted me here. It's a pleasure, it's a privilege, it's an honor. Thank you, too.
Thank you, and good night. Bye-bye.
Good night. Good night. Bye-bye.